Yeah, I'm not a pharmacist, and we don't have a single carrying cost. So how does we start it actually? Actually, I start from the problem when, like what Ali said, we should find the pain point and try to solve the problem. So we came up from the problem actually. We see that there are many problems when we got sick. The first problem, as we live in Jakarta, as many of you been through last few hours or few minutes ago, was traffic. Especially in Jakarta, now in Bandung, and Surabaya, that's one of the biggest pain that we have. The second big, and Jakarta apparently according to Castrol Index is number one in terms of traffic, other than Istanbul and Mexico. The second part, like what Dr. Adiatma said about going to doctors, the other problem is waiting in the pharmacy. I think it's a common problem for everyone. When we have the prescription from doctors, we still have to wait for the medicine. And one of the biggest problems also in Indonesia, because Indonesia has 241 pharmaceutical companies. We have 8,000 brands out of 3,000 molecules available in Indonesia, out of total pharma market of 54 billion rupiah, 54 trillion, right? The biggest problem is when you go to pharmacy, a lot of the medicine is not there, right? You have to wait 3-4 hours until the medicine is being sent, because you don't get it unless we're talking about Panadol or maybe Amoxan. But if you got a very specific brand that is prescribed from a local pharmaceutical company who are quite popular, even from companies like Dexa or Calbe, you still have this pain. So we see this is all the problems that we address. Not have to, and a lot of people also talk about branded product and also generic. But having said that, we also see opportunity. One of the biggest opportunity that we see is that there's online technology that is growing. I think Dr. Adiatma mentioned a very interesting stats of how Indonesia is growing in terms of usage of internet. But another big opportunity that we see is the growth of pharmacy in Indonesia in the last few years, 2011, 2012, 2013. I think the number is close to, I don't know, I think 21,000 pharmacy or apothec, but I think the one that is still very active, probably 12, 13,000. But still, there's a lot of pharmacy around, and yet it's difficult for us to get, we still have to wait. So a lot of problems, yet a lot of supplies actually. So that's why we come up with a...
Ketika Anda sakit, pergi ke dokter, terkena macet, pergi ke apotek dan obat habis. Apotek.com 5019 solusi Anda, situs penjualan obat via online dan telepon. Cukup menelepon dimanapun Anda berada, lalu obat akan segera kami antarkan. Anda dapat menghubungi kami via telepon, BBM, atau aplikasi kami. Apotek.com 5019.
Yeah, so we come up with this idea, Apotek.com, with 5019, 5019 the phone number, because we realize that Indonesians are, yes, they are into electronic information, yet they are still growing in terms of electronic commerce. So we really got a lot of, we're quite happy with our traffic, but we're not really happy yet at that time with the conversion of the percentage. Then we tried this very simple, putting a phone number. It works quite well. I mean, yes, Indonesian love still to call, to ask and this. And so, yeah, we provide a very simple solution because basically, for prescription medicine, we still want to see the real prescription. And before you ask about the regulation, that's going to be how I'm answering the regulation, because we come up with capture the prescription, send it to us. When we deliver, we will exchange with the real prescriptions. We don't deliver. The one that delivers is the pharmacy. So actually, I try to bring something for the society as well. I work with over 400 pharmacies around Indonesia. We're hoping to reach 600 by the end of this year. So we are basically just a place where we meet between customers and apothec and pharmacy. So we bring business for the pharmacy. We live on a commission base. So that's very simple of us. We have a very simple tagline: cepat, aman, nyaman, or fast, safe, and comfortable. Yeah, that's it. So I have a few questions for the panelists. Okay, so for Grace, how do you see the electronic platform going to change the ecosystem of healthcare in Indonesia, and how long do you think it will be?
I think, of course, it's good. That's why I'm in it, right? If not, I would not be in this business. In terms of how long, actually, this kind of just not the Adiatma said is quite good, yeah, because we have this kind of meetup. So the more players there are, the more consumers are more aware of what's going on in terms of the e-health as well. I don't know how it's going to take, but you know, I want to be here when the explosion happens.
Okay, that's good. Okay, I'll go with Donald first. Donald, how do you see the potential of valuation in the healthcare startup in Indonesia? Because you think the Silicon Valley dream is something that is achievable in this country. What I mean is that Amazon today is operating loss, but their IPO and their valuation is amazing, right? You think in a country like us, which if you want to go IPO, you need to have X amount of profitable level, and do you think it's going to happen ever in the healthcare startup or any startup in the IPO level?
IPO level, definitely.
With negative operation costs.
With negative.
The Amazon model.
You mean the stupid, crazy, moron Americans? Yeah, no. In Indonesia, in Asia, no, not just Indonesia. In Asia, we don't believe in doing things. We don't yet believe. Maybe I should have to say that yet, because that factor comes with the number of how many crazy money out there. We don't yet believe that if you don't in Asia, if you want investment, number one thing we ask you to do is come up with a business model. How you plan to make money out of this. If your answer is I don't know, I'll build it, they'll come. Yeah, then there's the door there. Yeah, that's standard in Asia. And in fact, that's sometimes we actually wait until you prove that you have a working revenue model, even though overall your cost of operation is still negative, but at least you've proven that somebody's willing to pay you for this, then we invest. That is the usual scenario in Indonesia. I think the madness is catching. Yeah, with madness there will be somebody who's crazy enough to pull the trigger when there's nothing there. But yeah, we believe, at least in Convergence, we believe we are not the fools. So we try to, as much as possible, to stay away from just plain madness. We have to have some reason behind it. But $60 billion is a good enough reason. Yeah.
Ellie, my question would be, you're an expert in e-commerce. B2B, B2C. Ours are e-commerce. What would be your opinion or your advice for our startups on the Pharmaceutical plan?
Here I have a question for you. You will have more competitors. Right now, maybe you might be the only one selling the medicines, but Sucamar actually also already starting to sell the medicines.
There you go. It's proven that it's a good business model.
Exactly. So what is going to be your only value proposition for your website? Why would people have to buy from you? not from Sukamart, not from Lazada. Maybe one day they will expand to healthcare.
I think a few things that we are very focusing on cepat, aman, nyaman, or fast, safe, and comfortable. Why fast? Because we work with our pharmacies. So meaning the closer you are with the apotheke, the faster it is, right? So we deliver between half an hour to an hour, maximum 2 hours, depends on the situation.
Within the same day.
Yeah, I mean, you order now, in half an hour you get it. Yeah, that's one of our key strengths compared to other delivery models. Yeah? Second of all is that, of course, it's safe. Yeah? And third of all, we have our own economic model that we know that our price will be very competitive compared to even a normal pharmacy.
That's the biggest differentiator then, compared to Sukamart or other e-commerce. If you can promise to deliver within 1 hour frame,
Oh, that's for sure.
then that's the.
Because they deliver from the apotheke. It's the apotheke was delivered.
Because our key strength is our network. We have a few hundred. So, any advice or anything?
I think that's already a very big point for you to serve your customers. I think next time I need the medicines, I will buy from your website.
That would be nice.
I have a question.
Apotek Antar has backup, di backup sama perusahaan, istilahnya apa ya, supplier farmasi gitu ya, mungkin produsen farmasi mungkin ya.
Pharmaceutical.
Nggak tahu namanya, Mensa ya kalau nggak salah ya. Nah, what do you think your chance if you don't have that kind of backup? Jika berdiri sendiri, ini kira-kira bisa running nggak nih Apotek Antar? Misalnya startup yang punya ide dokter atau mahasiswa farmasi pengen bikin ini, nah itu kira-kira ada chance apa enggak?
Interesting question. Difficult to answer because I think everybody can set up their online store. I mean, that's why we are here. Online pharmacy, there are many online pharmacy. As I mentioned, I don't have a single pharmacy. What we have is the network. So we work with our network. That's why that is, so if your question is, can anyone build like us? If you have a pharmacy, of course, any apotheke, if you go to Google, you can click, you can see a lot of products. A lot of pharmacy online, whether it's in Bintaro, in Semarang, or anything, right? Ours, we don't have a single store. That is the differentiator. We don't have a single store. But when you search for any products, I don't know whether it's still relevant, but I think the last few days, we're still number 1 or number 2 in terms of search engine optimizer level. What do you call it?
SEO.
Yeah, SEO.
Beli obat apotek, beli obat online gitu, keywordnya misalnya.
No, not even, if you put that one, definitely. But if you put, let's say, Clopidogrel, or Norfast, or Amlodipine, something like that, you just put it in. Yeah, with a lot of the popular products, we are still on the first page, number 3, number 2, or even number 1. So I think a lot of people are really looking at this.
Jadi kalau nggak ada backup farmasi besar masih memungkinkan gitu ya, masih bisa sebetulnya gitu ya.
The possibility is there. I mean, there are many online pharmacy. It's just maybe a different business model.
Pertanyaan kedua saya, gimana cara ngebangun network segitu banyak di apotek di segitu banyak daerah ya?
Okay. This one, when you ask how to build a network, of course you like what Dr. Adi. You send somebody, you knock on the door, and you ask the apotek. But the biggest thing adalah we must give the apotek something, right? So if we don't bring the business for the apotek will not want. I mean, I have many experience where the apotek does not want. Okay, so after 2 days, I gave them a business, 10 million rupiah on one shot. They said, okay, I become a partner. I mean, if you bring business, then everybody wants to do business. I think it's as simple as that.
Dari teman-teman di sini, oke.
Have you discussed with Meet Doctor or Bill Doctor about after the consultation, directly goes to your site to get the medicine?
We're very good partners
I
anyway.
see. Okay, so that's already in the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. I see. I think that would be a very good service.
I have a question. Just now you said that your price can be cheaper than the offline stores, right? But just now you said that when you go to the apotheke, and do you subsidize the price to make it lower than the actual offline? So they're the one willingly giving it cheaper if through apotheke antar, or what's the...
Sometimes yes. Not every apotheke. Not every apotheke, not every product. Because we're talking about 5,000 brands, right? So when I say cheaper, it's not necessarily all products. We're talking about mix or product mix.
Oke, Ibu, any question?
Thank you. My name is Linda. First of all, when you start your business,
When?
when you start business,
1.5 year, yeah.
1.5 years, and I have a pharmacy in 5 years, and you never contact me.
Okay. Any place for that?
No, it's not true. It's my concern about prescription that you go, that you get it from picture. Well, I'm an offline pharmacy, and many prescription is fake, you know. And
Fake.
yeah, and we have a regulation that in narcotics and psychotropics and
We don't do psychotropics product.
Okay.
We don't do
so
psychotropics.
you don't do that.
So yeah, that's one thing that we don't do. Any psychotropic we don't
How about precursor?
Precursor psychotropic we don't do.
Thank you.
We avoid the regulation
Yeah.
questions and problems.
Bisa dipanggil?
Adi silakan. Adi is my person in charge for the
Mungkin
software.
pertanyaannya, tahu dari mana itu resep asli? Kalau ini cuma foto doang.
Kita kan exchange nanti. Waktu kita tukar, waktu kita antar kita bawa resep lagi.
I think sometimes if we find fake prescription, maybe you have to start with like you have a connection with doctor is more secure because you know the STR from the doctor where they get the prescription is better. Maybe it's
Can they do online prescription?
yes, they should because we pharmacies now trying to deliver about prescription in big hospital. They are doing it.
Well, if all the platforms can do online prescription, we'll be more than happy to receive online prescription. Let's talk to the Ministry of Health.